than when you're seeing missing bolts in your exhaust manifolds. Always means they're broke. 2 of them. So if the motor lives here, I have about 1 inch right now. The radiator I'm planning on using is a 4-core, so it's going to fill up this entire area, but I can bring it out the depth of the radiator. So I can have the mounts welded so the radiator sits further back. I still have enough clearance inside of the front fascia. So, if I can get the motor to live right here, I'll be really happy. This is Advanced Adapters Universal Motor Mount Kit. Typically you'll find them in Jeeps. It actually does work for the Scout because all the Scout suppliers do sell this exact same kit. 130 bucks. A lot simpler than me trying to make one, which I can do, but got it in 2 days. I'm going to bolt it in, line it up to the wall, make my adjustments, tack it, square up, make sure everything's square, then make my tacks, pull up the drivetrain, burn it in, done. Motor mounts are done. So I think this is a simpler way to go than trying to make my own motor mounts. And honestly, it's got a nice clean look to it. Fairly simple design, polyurethane bushing, so you know they're going to last forever. It's going to give it a little bit more stiffness. Motor's not going to rock around too much when you're off-roading and doing some heavy rock climbing, so you shouldn't have too much of an issue. Okay, after 2 hours of adjusting, taking off the trans mount, drilling new holes, welding up all the old holes, smoothing it all out, replacing the trans mount, moving the engine up almost 2 full inches. As you can see, the motor is sitting up much higher now. And I'm actually really happy because before, the fan blade was actually down in this range, so we were only going to get mostly just the top of the fan blade pushing into the radiator. Now we have we have full, once the radiator is sitting in place, we have full range of movement for airflow. So we have full airflow and push flow from the radiator, from the fan blade. So I've got it squared back up. Everything's all squared up, trued up, side to side, back to front. Get my level up here on the top of the flat part of the block. The intake cover, there's a long cover that goes underneath the intake that bolts to the block. So I've got my level sitting on top of that. I know that the intake, the top of that plane is flat, is true. So that's how I'm going to true up my motor inside of the frame rails. I've got this side clamped to the frame. The motor mount is clamped to the frame. I'm going to go ahead and tack that one in. Just going to do 4 small tacks or 4 medium-sized tacks. I've got a little bit of a gap on this side, on the passenger side. I need to pull the motor mount over a little bit. It's kind of catching up on the mount over here, so I need to kind of give it a little shimmy. So I want to get that one at least tacked in, knowing that's exactly where I want it to be. So that's what we're going to do. So there we have some decent sized tack welds. Use some nice oversized vice grips to hold it onto the frame, right up against the frame, so we have a nice flush, flat weld. I've already ground everything down. I didn't prep the motor mounts per se. In this circumstance, they're pretty decent. I'll go ahead and use a wire brush as soon as I'm ready to burn them in, and I'll wire brush all the way around the mounts. All right, guys, there it is. I cut out all the bad metal, not every speck of it. As you can see, there's still some bad metal in here, back inside here. It's that base panel, the main structure, core structure of the front, the whole front assembly, which the fender bolts to. There's some rod in there down in this area, so I'm gonna have to cut this out, reinforce this. I'm gonna go ahead and bend a new piece, create a new lip, and then weld that in and take this piece out. Same thing on the other side. I've already cut out most of it. There's still a little bad metal down in here. As you can kind of see, there's a little bit of bad metal right in just along this lip line. So I'm gonna cut that out, put a nice flat piece in there. So now comes the cardboard to cut out my pieces. I'm not planning on doing a whole lot. I'm not going to go ahead and butt weld this, do a nice little butt weld. I'm going to go ahead and just do one. This will be one piece that'll come down. It'll have probably about a 22.5 degree bend in it right about here. So I'll just go ahead and make one piece. That'll be this filler piece. Then I'm going to go ahead and make a secondary filler piece, which will be a 90 degree from here to here. And then I'll just open up this hole back up so it matches the rest of the hole. I've got a nice little plastic rubber plug that goes in there so all my wires go through. I'd like to utilize that and keep that stock looking. On the back side, I'm going to make a whole new panel for this. I went ahead and drilled out the spot welds, and I'm going to make a whole new panel that's going to replicate what was originally there that went down in here. This is a bad area. Right down in this area is where all the dirt and crud settles, which is why this metal joint right in here always rusts out on both sides. Believe it or not, this engine bay looks incredibly good compared to a lot of them that I've seen. I'll make some filler panels, and we will go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and start welding those in. My goal is to have those made and potentially have them done by the end of the day. I'll have all those welded in.